It kind of does seem like when they had Benny and Zach and Trey, all these dudes.
So true.
I wonder what Daryl Richardson's up to these days.
Shut up, Sosa.
Yeah, there's another one.
All right, we live, gents.
Like when they had Benny and Zach.
You want to shoot that link, Robbo?
Yeah. I will.
So true.
I wonder what Daryl Richardson's up to these days.
Shut up, Sosa.
All right, we live, gents.
You want to shoot that link?
Are we not saying anything on purpose?
We are just waiting to Joe back.
It's a silent
Yes,
call.
I'm back. Sorry, is that on me?
We can start. I'm just tweeting out the link so we can get this going. But if you guys want to start, we're streaming. Peeps, we're live. So
yeah, you got to tell someone. Otherwise, no one's just going to be like.
We were waiting for you, Joey, to say something witty.
action.
Good luck. I've had 3 of these big ass. Well, it actually looks like nothing, but it's actually what? Special effects are terrible. Anyways, I'm going to get
hidden behind the banana.
Whiskey and Coke, where it's mostly whiskey. This draft kind of bummed me out for some reason. Really disappointed. I feel like the new LA Rams are only going to make me sad, like the old Rams.
It's been a bit of a depressing offseason, I would say, so far.
It really has been.
Quiet.
You know, SoFi Stadium was supposed to be this like amazing thing that was going to open, and now that's actually been kind of, you know, smashed. A little bit of the grandeur of the here it opens. You know, it's going to be awesome. Now it's like, well, we can't go outside. You know, it's like everything's just been like a little bit negative,
and it doesn't look ready. Yeah,
we got the weird uniforms that are coming down the pipe.
Little did you guys know that wasn't Roger Goodell's basement. That was SoFi Stadium's basement. It's a special room.
It's going to be his little lair. But please make me feel better about these draft picks, guys. Say something that's going to make me sleep at night.
They're all good.
We'll play a lot of football for the Rams.
Yeah.
Make you feel better?
They're good draft picks. They're all good prospects. They maybe some of them didn't make the most sense where we drafted them, but they're all good draft picks.
Oh, one of them made me sad, and it wasn't Cam Akers. One of them made me really sad.
Who made you sad?
A certain
Van Jefferson, because they're not signing Cooper Kupp. I as soon now that you said it, I've connected the dots.
My boy is going to turn 27 in 6 weeks, and they're not going to pay him $18 million, and they're going to send him to
Cincinnati.
I'm curious when he signs with the Cardinals. How are you wear red?
Oh.
Well, since I'm moving to Arizona, fuck yeah, well.
You read.
Serious question. Are we sure that Cooper Kupp is the one not going to get re-signed and not Robert Woods?
Ooh.
Who's younger, Robert Woods or Cooper Kupp?
Woods has one more year next year, but
neither. The answer is nope.
How old is Woods?
What's he gonna play? He does look like a slot guy, doesn't he?
yeah, sort of.
Well, so did Brendan Cooks, right? Brendan Cooks wasn't like your Josh Reynolds prototype.
Is Cooper Kupp really a slot guy? I don't even know that he is. I think
Have to be.
Cooper Kupp is a tight end. He's Jason Kelsey.
Yeah.
He blocks DNs. Cooper Kupp's everything. Don't ever doubt the man.
Can't that be Van Jefferson? Is kind of a guy that I maybe sometimes he's a slot guy and maybe sometimes he's not.
Sean McVay's man. I mean,
long.
When Johnny Munt's out there blocking for Austin Corbett, I guess.
Are we still talking about Johnny Munt? We just had a whole draft. We're talking about Johnny Munt.
Cooper Kupp won't be on the field anyway, so it won't matter.
No,
Go
what's up? Shoot. What were you gonna say?
No, I just want to. I want you to talk about the draft. I want to know, why should I not be angry that we took a running back at 50, even though it was the most predictable fucking thing we could have done? Why should I not be angry?
I know. We were just joking about that, Eric, specifically like an hour ago or whatever, 3 hours ago. Why you shouldn't be angry? I don't know. You're asking the wrong guy, I think, because I'm pretty angry. Like the weird thing about it to me is like, obviously, they didn't need a running. Well, I mean, they did need a running back, not that early. But the thing that's weird about it to me is like, is he a whole round better than Zach Moss? Because I don't even know that he is. I don't even know if he's better, just in general terms. So you factor in the fact that like one guy went that high and one guy went that low. It's kind of weird to me. But at the end of the day, I think we were all bracing for a running back, so it kind of was like we were expecting it to some degree, but. I don't know. It definitely wasn't where I would have won. I think you could have got like so much more impact from someone else, specifically a lineman that would have helped the running game a lot more than a running back would. But I don't know. I guess maybe they think something different of Darrell Henderson than the rest of us.
That's kind of the question is we traded up to get Darrell Henderson. Who's who on the depth chart? Is Akers running back 1 and Henderson's running back 2?
I got 2 questions about Darrell Henderson. First, he had an injury last year, but it wasn't reported, which kind of seems like something the Rams would do. But
it kind of seems like an invisible drink you'd hold up next to you in front of the Chargers logo.
Exactly. Here's my invisible drink. But that really is invisible. But Darrell Henderson also, beyond this weird, mysterious, like maybe he was banged up theory, is you also had reports that he just wasn't seeing the field the way the Rams wanted him to, that they were disappointed in the way that he was acclimating to the NFL. Like there was something where they were having buyer's remorse. Do you guys feel like that happened or no?
Who's to say?
One thing's for sure is McVay's just going to give us a bunch of smoke this year about how they're a perfect complement for each other and one has nothing to do with the other all season long. And then Henderson's just going to be elsewhere. You know,
is it possible for both to be a central point in the offense? Can they both be a focal point? Is that the McVay line?
That's one thing that I don't like about like running back, I don't know, tandems or duos, whatever. They don't work. It just doesn't happen. Like how many out of how many duos or attempted duos actually work? It's always one guy that outplays the other. And then why would you be giving carries to the lesser player? You know what I mean? I guess like, if you're looking at it,
they don't ride it out for more than a year or two, you know, like Seattle or New Orleans, you know.
Yeah, like
it's always one guy.
And Ingram, that was 1 year, right? That was great. And then
Todd Gurley, Malcolm Brown had a good run.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, rude.
It just seems really high for I don't know, when you talk about the faith that they have in Darrell Henderson, it just feels like your second round pick. And also he seemed like he'd be available at 57. Like it didn't seem like he was even like ranked around 52. It seemed like he was more like in the 60s, but they reached for him a little bit.
That's one thing about the draft that it kind of makes me not want to do my homework before it, because we'll always have these guys that we like, and apparently Snead and them are seeing things totally different. Like, you know, I think we all had our guys that we were hoping for today. And apparently the people that crunched the tape saw it totally different. And I will admit, I watch the highlights mostly, so I'm not watching full game films normally. So Smith, do you watch the full game films? I know you're on it.
Yeah, I didn't watch Cam actually until they picked him. I was like, you know what? I probably got like a little bit of time here.
You didn't watch any Cam Akers?
I watched like the tiniest sliver before because I was looking at this was like not long ago, actually, like a few weeks ago, because I seen a lot of people talking on Twitter about like Jonathan Taylor going to the Rams.
To be fair, though, that makes sense not to watch a lot of Florida State because they were.
Yeah.
Rob, this is where you make a UCLA Sky. You make a UCLA joke. This is where you go.
You don't know bad, so you.
Hey, we did have a Bruin drafted tonight. Going to the pay.
Congrats, way to go.
Yep.
But what you were saying, so
Akers was one of my favorite running backs. So I think I mentioned that on Twitter the other day. He had him. I feel like he had a real natural flow to his game. It's not, you know, some guys, it's like their athleticism. You go, wow, they flash right there. Him, he seems really relaxed. He's almost like, remember how Dickerson used to look like he would jog when he'd be playing, but he'd be going fast? It's kind of, Akers looks sort of like that. And then I was reading up that his line is awful in Florida State. So, you know,
that's nice.
He does have some upside. And I think Jefferson has that sort of real natural look to him too. Like they just look like they're not off the chart athletes. They're just like, they enjoy playing football and play it smooth, very comfortably, you know? I don't think he's a bad player or anything. Like, it's not, it's just the running back position I was against because it'd be nice to have a cost protected left tackle or edge, you know, for that reason mainly.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, yeah, I just started to watch Cam, but like the thing is, it's so hard to diagnose what's going on just because he's never getting a chance. You know what I mean? And that's like the discussion about the running back position at the end of the day, anyways, is that if they don't have anything blocked for them, nobody's going to look special. Nobody's going to produce like the way they should. And if they do have it blocked, then 99% of the guys are going to produce similarly. Like, so I don't know, but he looks all right. He looks all right to me. There wasn't anything that like stood out incredibly like big for me. He was like obviously breaking tackles pretty often. He's pretty smooth. I think he's got like decent hands, but and he was a 5-star recruit and he is young, so that's interesting because the Rams don't usually pick guys that are. He's not even 21 years old yet, so that was interesting.
Better back in the passing game. They're both.
I think.
Right?
I think Henderson's like significantly better as a receiver, but and the one thing is I think he's like so much more of a home run threat, and that I would rather have a guy like that on the field at all times with the ball in his hands as opposed to a guy that's not as much of a home run threat.
Unless he
I felt like I think I saw a tweet where it was kind of McVay's call on that one. I think he had conveyed that he was showing Snead like look at this, how it would translate. And he was, I saw some tweet about that. What do you think that McVay saw that made him reach out like that? What do you think it is about Akers that would make him do that?
I don't know. You know what, though? I was looking at the PFF draft guide, and I seen that he was, I think it was like top 15 or top 10 or top 12, something like that, that he ran zone runs, like out of all the running backs. So he was using, obviously, what they have been running, like, the past 3 years. So that's probably something that caught their eye. But I read something similar, too, like that they were going over plays or something, and then that, like, Akers was sounding, like, really impressive or whatever. So they kind of got, like, hooked on his football IQ, which makes sense because that's, like, a really coach thing. And we know, obviously, Sean McVay's, like, value towards that kind of stuff is, like, extremely high, which is the same thing as Van Jefferson and guys like Cooper Kupp dating all the way back. So,
Good point.
I do like Sky putting it all on McVay. Like, hey, this pick is 100% on McVay. Talk about that. Explain that more. I like that. Good on you, Sky.
Trying to figure that guy out.
I don't know. There's a lot to figure it out until we get to it. You got Darrell Henderson. We traded up for Darrell Henderson, didn't play him. Now we drafted Cam Akers in the second round. That's an interesting. Oh, Joey has a naked hand. He has an invisible hand.
You know what's worth to show this fucking rad logo, even though I have invisible hands. But my question is, so before the draft, we were talking about, is there room to play Everett and Higbee at the same time? Are they going to run these, these two guys and let them get the ball? And can Cooper Kupp still get touches? And then now we have the concept of having two running backs in the backfield. So the identity of this offense right now kind of feels up in the air. Like, are we a team that's going to run with two, with two just like rad running backs in the back? Or are we going to have two awesome tight ends? Or are we going to try to do both? I mean, it feels like they have all these toys, but they don't really sort of, really show their hands on what the system is going to be with all of this.
Yeah.
I like the way you say that, mentioning Cam Akers and the tight ends, and don't mention Van Jefferson. I don't know.
I mean, Van Jefferson just kind of almost just seems like a nice fourth dude coming off the bench, right? Like, I mean, he's going to make it feel it's going to change the contract negotiations for Robbo's buddy Cooper Kupp, right? If he shows that he's awesome, I feel like, well, maybe we don't have to put this big contract on Kupp.
What a great welcome introduction. Hey, Van, we're really excited for you to come and change the contract negotiations for other guys on the team.
A little bit of a pressure.
Welcome to the team.
Yeah.
If I'm Cooper Kupp's agent, I suggest he hold out for that money against San Francisco, or maybe go play with Kyler.
All right. What do you guys think of Van Jefferson then?
I like Van. The one thing I don't know, and I never thought about Van Jefferson watching him, thinking about him for the Rams is, what is his run blocking? The Rams have gotten great run blocking from the wide receivers for the last couple of years, and that's not a thing I look at for a lot of wide receivers, and especially because a lot of college teams don't put a big onus on that outside of like Alabama and maybe Clemson. And I don't remember looking at him for that, but in terms of what he brings as a wide receiver, I'm interested in. I might have gone Devin Duvernay, but so you know I'm big on him. But I like what he does. Short field, there's a lot of stuff that he can do. The only thing I worry about is that we've taken Brandon Cooks, who can really stretch a field long, and we've kind of contracted the field without anybody going deeper. But I like the idea of having all these weapons that can go short and intermediate. I like Van Jefferson. I'm not opposed to him. I might have preferred him to Cam Akers at 52. I might have preferred anybody to Cam Akers at 52. But I like the idea of bringing another weapon. We talked about a wide receiver for the last couple of months. This was a draft to get a guy like that, and you got Cooper Kupp, you got Josh Reynolds in a contract year. It makes sense. I like it.
So, I think Sosa mentioned this. I mean, that tandem, even with Robert Woods, the Rams are going to trot out there. That route running that they're going to throw at teams is going to be ridiculous. I mean, really, those two guys, those two technicians, even if they're stacked, they're going to be breaking ankles and causing people all kinds of problems.
Here's a weird way to think about it. Van Jefferson's a really good pick if you don't trust your offensive line. If you want to run short concepts and you want to do some quick things, that's the kind of guy you want versus a guy that you can run deep and do 7-step drops and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
it makes sense. I know it's kind of a gross thing to think about. If you have a horrible offensive line, you don't trust them. What do you want to do? Well, this is kind of the kind of thing that would make sense.
Just got yourself another chain mover, right, Sos?
A little bit.
Mm-hmm. No, I love it.
5 picks before you draft Akers.
Yeah, sure.
No, I love it. I pulled up my notes
and stopped on second down, like second. It gives you third and long. You're going to need that chain mover.
Yeah.
What doesn't Van Jefferson
That's kind of highlights to me too is watching that little boom, 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 shake the corner like real quick. I like watching that more than almost any highlight out there. Like I can't watch DBs, but watching that play, and I would rather get a bigger receiver than a little guy, honestly. Like
sure,
Yeah, because he's a little more he's like 6'1", right? Like he's not the fastest guy in the field, Van Jefferson, but it feels like he's a little bit of the body of the skill set of Robert Woods, really, just being kind of a precision route runner. Yeah. And he's not gonna blow the doors off you. I don't know how much how loose he's gonna get, but it seems like a dude that I don't know, kind of feels more like you're going to develop and see if you want to pay Robert Woods once his contract ends and he's going to buy one a lot of money, and maybe having someone with a similar skill set to him. I don't know.
Think about where we were picking too. That you're not going to get. T. Higgins was maybe the best of the last outside guys that went wherever he went. 33. I think first, whatever it was, early on in the second, you're not going to get a guy that can play outside and match up one-on-one. It's just too hard to get those guys that late. So by the time that we were picking in the 50s, you get what you get. And that was probably the best of it. But then, you go running back, you go wide receiver for a defense. Good Lord, for a defense that has some needs. Maybe it's time to start figuring them out, and you start to sort through it and get what you get. What do you guys think about the third round?
They redeemed themselves.
They redeemed themselves. I like it.
Yeah. If Terrell Lewis stays healthy, they redeem themselves. I mean, that's real, right? And
big if.
I really like he kind of slipped because no pro day. He only did what, vertical. What did he do at the combine? He did like
broad and vertical and
right. Nothing else, so you couldn't really,
He did the Alabama special. He said, "Look at my tape. I played for head coach Nick Saban.
Look how far I jumped.
Look how I'm done."
How bad?
Like went through this with Okoronkwo though, like for the last 2 years.
What were you gonna say, Eric?
I was just say, how bad was Todd Gurley's knee that the first defensive player you get blows out his ACL?
Yeah. A little weird.
I like. We got Todd Gurley, the defensive Todd Gurley, in the third round. How about that? Yeah. God bless.
His injuries are for real. I think he played at Bama like 4 or 5 years, and he played in like 8 games or something. Like
no, he had a rough go. That's a lot of guys. Look, Tua Tagovailoa got drafted early, and he had it. But no, Terrell Lewis. The game's good, but his injury resume is not great.
Could the best pick of the day be the last pick?
Sure.
I think for me it would be Van Jeff. In order, it'd probably be Van Jefferson, Terrell Lewis, Terrell Burgess, and then Cam Akers. Like I really liked actually the day outside of the first pick.
Yeah.
Because Van Jefferson's a guy who's just gonna win. Like he just separates. I don't care how fast you run, how like far you jump. He just wins. That's the bottom line. That's gonna be huge for the offense that's struggled to convert last year, convert third downs and move the chains, right? So that's gonna be big.
There's no more example of that than Cup, right? I talk massive by him, but he was putrid at the combine.
Right.
And all the guy does is win at the line of scrimmage.
It's the exact same thing. It's the exact same concept, except I think Van Jefferson might like be able to live more outside, which is probably why they took him. I think he's got obviously more speed and like a little bit more agility probably, and maybe a little bit more size. Right. You guys run the same 40 actually. Yeah. But no, like for me, I said it on Twitter, even if Terrell Lewis, like his injury woes continue and he never really does anything or like whatever, he just doesn't pan out, I still love the pick because it's worth it. I'm looking at it like from a positional value standpoint, right? Mm-hmm. If you're grabbing a edge rusher in the third round who's like produces a little bit, but showing a lot of traits on tape and stuff like that, like that's 100% worth it because that's a potential high ticket item, right? And even if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out, but it's still worth it.
The only thing I'd point out is the timing, and that's what I worry about with this draft is compared to like Cooper Kupp, is that we drafted Cooper Kupp coming out of, the Fisher era when we drafted Cooper Kupp and then signed Robert Woods in free agency and traded for Sammy Watkins. And you were the bar was really low and now the bar is really high. So where does Van Jefferson fit on the depth chart? Where does Cam Akers, let's say, fit on the depth chart? Where does Terrell Lewis fit on the depth chart? I don't know that any of these guys are starting, even Burgess are starting week one. And it's not a bad thing. It's that when we weren't doing this 2 years ago, when we were drafting, Joseph Noteboom and Brian Allen, we were drafting those guys. It was like, fuck it. We're loaded on the starting 11 on both sides. We don't have a lot of room for starting players. It doesn't matter that you're drafting guys that aren't going to start. That's not the case now. We need guys to come in and start immediately and make things better on both sides. I don't know that any of these guys are going to start week one, and that might be what worries me more than anything.
That's true, but what's weird about that is that it feels like they didn't go after guys that they really needed, like position-wise too, sure. Right?
And it's not a fault of the draft picks either. I'm not even criticizing those guys. Right. I'm more saying that's in the position we're in. Is that we need guys to come in and help immediately, whether it's edge, inside linebacker, offensive line, and they clearly didn't care. We talked about, I posted that 3 months ago. That
you're right. You're 100% right.
They might be fine with it, and they're clearly fine with it. Well, then fuck it, let's roll the dice. But this was a draft pick or a draft class that seems like they're drafting for 2-3 years down the line, when they were maybe in a position to draft for guys that could have made an impact starting this year.
So I got a question about I got a question about the way they look at the roster, because you have guys that we think are maybe like not that great, like Michael Kaiser or Sebastian Joseph Day or Austin Corbett. And they might be looking at it being like, no, like those guys, like Okawankwo, he's going to be our edge rusher.
Sure.
And he's gonna be like, for the next 10 years, he's going to be getting to the quarterback. But we don't know if that's actually what they think or is what's going to shake out. So we have all these question marks, and then they're doing what you're saying, Joe, is kind of adding to an already strong sort of position set. It can be frustrating for a fan because you see these weaknesses and they're going the other direction.
Or at least they're buying into it.
I think the draft kind of tells us what they think about these guys,
Yeah, exactly.
I think they were pretty high on Josh Reynolds, but they just picked a wide receiver, so who knows? And who knows what that says about Cooper Kupp's extension, all that. Darrell Henderson, we just learned. I thought it was also interesting. They picked a bunch of guys from major colleges. You know what I mean? Like they got Florida, Florida State, Alabama, and Utah today. So
no small school guys.
University of Maine today. I don't know if
Someone
that's
said
'cause it's
something
a
hilarious in
COVID
the
draft or what.
Sorry. Someone
Well,
said
I think-
Austin Corbett is as useful as single by
He's right, but he's right. Joey's right though. Like that's the point, is that the Rams are betting on those guys. They're betting on the offensive line coming back,
Yeah.
and they're betting on this being looks like not an immediate draft class for impact.
I feel like they do that at every position. I feel like
Maybe-
they give
yeah,
guys the benefit of the doubt until they prove them that they can't do it.
And
then
maybe
they
that's the
sign
point,
them.
is that for like 2-3 years they've had a roster where they were comfortable
Yeah.
drafting like that, and maybe now that it's getting a little bit dicier where they need to start drafting guys for impact, and they're still drafting the old way.
Yeah.
Should have taken Ezra Cleveland. I'm still mad about it. I'm not gonna let
You
it.
just want guys named Ezra. You want better than Ezra. You want all your 90s
do.
rock
I do.
bands. Yep.
And I don't know, just like his last name's Cleveland.
Yep.
I don't know,
Be a great jersey.
right?
The thought, I think Sky mentioned the thought about all the big school guys are taking. I mean, that's also coronavirus, right? No in-person visits. No one can come
That's
to
a
the
good point.
facility. No pro
That's
days.
true.
So you
Oh,
have to go by tape, and you have to go by the combine. Who showed up and the Senior Bowl? So you got Senior Bowl, you got combine, and you got the tape. And a
We
Skype.
still got all the Duggar. Where did Duggar go? What was this school?
Lenore Ryan.
What the fuck is Lenore? Is that in Canada?
Is that in
Where
Canada?
is that?
Yeah, that must be in Canada somewhere.
Where is that?
Yeah, he played with Hergulu. What's his name?
Bless you.
Rulahu, yeah.
Yeah.
hmm
Hergulu.
Turku Hitaglu? No, he played for the Sacramento Kings in the 15 years
He played
ago.
for the Raptors too, actually.
Nice.
The
No.
lone bright spot for a little while.
It was I like our draft. It made sense. It was just one of those things where you go running back, so it's like, okay, we're doing this, and I hate it. But you're filling these not immediate needs, and we talked about this before. You're drafting for the next 4 years, but are the Rams still in a position to draft for the next 4 years? Was it Sosa or somebody else said they're making luxury picks for a team
was
that's
me.
not in a position, luxurious picks for a team that's maybe not in position to make luxurious picks right now. And that
Yeah.
certainly feels maybe at least more the case than it was the last 2-3 years. Maybe it's not, maybe it is, but it's certainly closer to not than it was 1-2 years ago when we were trading for everybody and their mother to make us a Super Bowl pick. It's a little bit riskier now.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of weird considering the first two guys you picked might not even play 50% of the offense.
How much are they going to pay? Who's the starting running back for this team?
That's a question that we don't have the answer for right now.
Nobody
How
knows.
many targets is Van Jefferson going to get this year?
I'll have to take them from Johnny Munt.
You're under 23.
Somehow Johnny Munt has become the number one focus of this draft class. It all comes back down to Johnny Munt.
You know,
Yeah.
Johnny Munt, his family has like a nut farm in Northern California, and it's called Munt's Nuts.
Okay.
That's awesome.
That's a real story. Yeah, I heard him tell JB Long that the other day.
That's great.
I am going online tonight, and I'm going to buy myself a bag of Munt's Nuts.
What are the chances that Munt's Nuts resuscitates the entire American economy?
It's good for you, and it's good for America.
Chances are high.
The Rowan-
Nuts.
That's the Rona cure right there, probably.
Times
Yeah.
were low. America was feeling a little bit hard, but then Munt's Nuts came along,
I had some
and we
tight
rode
bottoms
the roller coaster.
Is okay. Why don't we talk about who you guys like were sad to see not get picked? Anyone that
Wanted to talk about how we should pivot from Trump injecting Lysol into injecting nuts straight into our lungs. But we can,
that's Friday, man.
Protein.
It's just the way Friday happened,
it's Friday. Let's inject some fucking pecans into our lungs.
right?
Let's go.
You were saying who who that we're sad to see slip by.
yeah, that they didn't take, that they passed up on.
Oh, talk about it. You wanted Joey, JoJo, Jonas. Jonas,
JJ.
Joshy. You wanted JJ.
I wanted John Jones. That's a starting day one left tackle, potential franchise piece there.
That's strong.
Kyler Murray sure hope so.
That was
When
the
did he
first
go?
prospect I watched this draft class, and I was dead set on that. He was my number one player on the Rams, like centric mock, whatever you want to call it, big board. He was my number one player since the first player I
And he was
watched.
that close.
That was the day before the underclassmen had like their little deadline to enter the draft. That was the day. Since then,
However, you were a big stan of a guy from Maine a couple of years ago. So I'm not sure I'm going to trust your offensive line prowess as much as I trust
Rob.
you guys.
I
liked him after we drafted.
We let Jamil Demby go, and you were sad, and you were happy when he came back.
Yeah, he's the GOAT.
He's the GOAT.
Bench GOAT, man.
So you didn't get JJ.
I just the big board. I'm sorry.
Did anybody else have a number one? I didn't really have a number one. I had, for a second there, I had Grant Delpit because I thought when we got into the middle of round 2, I was like, oh shit, he might fall to us, and we got a little too close to comfort. I almost thought about maybe we should trade up to get him, but you know, where did he go? He went 6 picks, 7 before us. He was getting a little close.
44 or something.
Something like that. He was getting a little close where I never thought he would be that close. I never entertained the idea, but as he got close, I thought about it. Was there a number one? Was there anybody that you guys felt like, oh shit, the way that Sosa felt for JJ that you guys wanted for the Rams? I never had one.
The same one as Sosa, but I also liked Zach Bond to play Corey Logan.
Bond was a baller.
It was a good one.
Taking Corey's spot and done a good job there. But so I don't know. I guess what do we have? We'll go with Trey, huh? Traven Howard this year.
Oh, we got Terrell Lewis on the outside. Yeah. And Joey Nagel. Anybody for you guys that was number one that you wanted going into this draft?
Any Denzel Mims takers or?
Yeah,
Nagel wanted Chase Young. Yeah, Nagel wanted a way for us to somehow.
I mean, I don't know if there's any one player, but I would say positionally. I mean, not to reopen the running back wound. They must really like their guys on the offensive line. I don't know.
It's weird. It's a little weird. Joey, what do you think? Was there anybody besides Sherbert?
And Ezra Cleveland, what I mentioned.
You like Ezra. You like Ezra and Herbert. You have a very specific type.
Also, Julian Okwara of Notre Dame, he fell to the 3rd round. Detroit grabbed him.
Okay.
But I was, watching some tape on him and seeing if, he'd be a good fit. And I was surprised how far Josh Jones fell. I mean, he went to Arizona at 72.
Rub it in.
I mean,
it's okay. Ben Barch is still out there. That's more than enough for me.
What do you think about Barch? What do you think about Barch?
The shit.
He's not the shit. He's still available. We're done with day 2.
He's the shit, okay? I would trade the rest of the draft just to go up to the top of the 4th here and snag him. I'm telling you.
And I think you've got it covered.
No. Okay, you played against accountants and I don't know, whatever Joe does, his workers, but dude, he's a crazy athlete. He went to the Senior Bowl and just demolished fools I don't know, that were 1st round potential guys and whatever. Yep. And obviously just absolutely wrecked the fools he was playing in Division 3. But I'm telling you, man, this guy's going to be good. I seen a lot of people compare him to Ali Marpet. He came out of Hobart from Division 3 a couple years back. He's a really good interior offensive lineman for the Bucs. So,
Robbo, what about you? Is there anybody that has fallen this far? Are there any Cooper Kupps in the draft that you're obviously there's nobody that you're going to get naked for when they draft him, but is there anybody that you're excited for?
There was one guy I was really sad that we didn't get. I was I was crossing my fingers and hoping he would slide to us. Just didn't happen.
Who?
Chase Young.
Oh, shut up.
Me too.
God damn it. I believed you. I was being serious for his name.
No, I
so
mean,
close too.
I just didn't want to run it back at 52. The bigger question I had really for you guys is more surprised that we took running back with our first pick or we did not trade at all today.
That was
a shocker.
Absolute shocker. Yeah.
I think this is really our COVID draft, guys. We took big pool guys. We didn't trade. It was very weird, but I don't think this is going to be how it is every year. It's just, I think
it's a strange ass time, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think it's the COVID draft.
The COVID draft.
It's COVID's time to shine.
The COVID logo too. We got everything.
Less COVID.
Got a C. Yeah.
No, you're right. This was we didn't trade and we picked a running back with our first pick a year after taking one. A year after trading up for one in the 3rd round. This was very corona, and overall, I don't feel bad. What are you guys' thoughts on it? Do you guys? I'm okay with it. I know we talked about some guys that we miss, and we talked about guys that we like. I hate doing grades because whatever, these guys haven't even fucking shown up for practice yet. But how do you guys feel about the day 2 class? I guess, is there discomfort? Do you like it? I'm cool with it. I don't know if I love it. I don't know if I hate it. But getting a running back, obviously, I'm not comfortable with. But overall, I'm kind of cool.
I think it's interesting to look at the other teams in the NFC West and to see how if they got stronger or if they addressed their things, just to see like where do we stand in the NFC West right now, because it's one of those fluid things where just a couple seasons ago we were just like killing all of these teams, and suddenly like the Niners aren't a pushover anymore.
Well, they went to the Super Bowl. Of course, they're not a pushover.
You know what? I'm a little slow on the uptake. It takes me a couple years to figure to notice that things are happening. I still think they're a shitty team. And the Cardinals, you think, they fucking suck. And I was a little bit encouraged by the way they drafted because I was worried that they were going to get stronger on the offensive line, and they didn't.
They didn't.
But they might have a really strong defense. So I don't know. I think the Niners haven't really changed fundamentally that much from their draft, and neither did the Seahawks, and maybe neither did we. I felt like a little bit like there was nobody in the NFC West that I feel like got this sort of game changer player where that's going to be on the side of a stadium or anything. It feels like everyone just kind of got some nice pieces. Maybe they got some shitty pieces, but it seems a little low stakes on what these 4 teams did in the draft.
What do y'all think? NFC West.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, for the Cardinals, though, you have to factor in DeAndre, right? I mean,
yeah,
they have the best option.
They definitely got
every day.
They definitely improved the most, right? Out of everyone in the NFC West.
They had the most to improve, right? But they closed that floor, right?
Yeah.
Are they still the 4th best team right now? If you had to rank,
I wouldn't assume they're the 4th best. The only thing I throw out there with the Cardinals is they got a quarterback, they got wide receivers. That offensive line still is a problem, man.
Still cheap,
That's the offensive line still.
The defense is still pretty cheap.
So if you're looking at the Rams and say, if you're looking at the Rams and saying, oh, we got Jared Goff, we got running backs, we got wide receivers, but they don't have an offensive line. What's the difference between that and the Cardinals?
They got the left tackle of the future in Josh Jones.
Oh, sure. I
mean, come on.
Look at Sosa. Sosa's good point, Niggs. Good pick.
They got a stud. No, yeah. I don't know. I like the draft class. I probably would have obviously wanted like a couple of different guys. The guys they chose probably weren't on the top of my board. Like I might have went with Denzel Mims instead of Van Jefferson, for example. But I see the value in a lot of the guys that they added outside of the running back mostly. But so I like it. I think they got better. Obviously, that's probably the case for every single team today and this weekend. But I would feel so much better if they just picked a lineman at 52. Oh, my God. If they had just picked one starting lineman and plugged him in at 52, oh, God, I would have felt so much better about the team because it improves everything so much to like such a significant amount,
You say lineman. I'm not going to assume you meant offensive lineman. I would have accepted a defensive lineman too.
Hey, you never know. I might have been talking about an edge rusher. No, I was talking about offensive lineman. But that's the thing.
No, you weren't.
Yeah, I was. Last year, like Andrew Whitworth, everyone thinks his play fell off. Maybe it did. It kind of did, I guess. But the thing is, like, when you look at the rotational, like, revolving door at left guard, it's pretty hard to, get your chemistry right and then kind of do that whole thing, gel in the middle of the season when you got – they played Joe Noteboom at that spot. He was –
They're all coming back. Bring him all. Keep
Austin
going.
Corbett came in the middle of the year.
Coming on back. Here he comes.
And, who was this? And they played David Edwards there at one point.
Oh, here he comes, round 2.
So
Bring him back.
It was just a juggling act. Like, I don't know how you expect him to play well.
We're just bringing that reel back. Keep going. Who's playing center?
I don't like it.
Come on, Sosa. Who's playing center?
Austin Blythe.
Run it back. Right tackle. Week 12.
Big Robbo.
Oh, Big Robbo. Juicy. And if he gets hurt?
I guess Big Bobby.
Bobby.
Johnny Munt.
Bringing it back.
You gotta put Johnny Munt in there.
Playing start right tackle.
Is McVay gonna actually let them play together in preseason if there is a preseason this time?
No.
Because
or is he gonna play?
Yell
Is he
that
going to
shit.
play our offense without an offensive line? Is he going to be like, look, I want to practice these guys, and these guys go over here. We're going to.
It is a little off topic, but did you feel like there was some tension in the draft room with Sean McVay when they thought that they were going to get a player that was drafted right before them?
That was explained by Rich Hammond today on Twitter. He said that McVay was adamant in trying to get the phone number for Alabama linebacker for
Terrell Lewis.
He didn't have the right phone number, and he was getting ticked off. He wanted the number to get, to give the kid a call, and so he got a little animated. So that's how Rich explained it.
Okay. I didn't see that.
That also could be artists crafting a message to get out there. Hey, people are talking about this. We should craft a bullshit story because that's what artist does.
Yeah, because the scuttlebutt was that they thought that they were going to get the guy drafted. Was it Roddenberry or whatever? That
Cushenberry?
Yeah. Cushenberry.
Roddenberry.
Yeah, Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek. An old dead guy. But that there's some wires crossed, and him and Les Snead have some tension. Twitter is a little.
There was also a report that
for some hot gossip.
Snead lost his internet during the second round. I don't know if you guys saw that.
Yeah, because those glasses were probably causing some transference in the room.
Oh, yeah, I just seen it come up on Twitter. What the hell?
Yeah, no, there were reports that Snead lost his internet for a good portion of the second round, but that he went to his phone and was able to complete it on mobile, which, of course, this is the kind of thing that happens. But
one of the kids was playing Fortnite and had to reset the router.
Probably. Hey, Travis Scott's out there doing concerts for the kids on Fortnite. You lock that down. I do like Gene Roddenberry. That's a good suggestion, Joey. Roddenberry would be a decent defensive coordinator. There's a lot that he could do on that side of the ball.
If you create Klingons, you can create a good Tampa 2.
You're dealing with Kyler Murray dropping back. Oh my God, I'm horrified. What is that? 3 women.
The Borg.
No.
So are we excited about the fourth round, or are you guys just gonna check out?
I'm here.
You got
You're always there.
Came out of the fourth round, right?
I was gonna say this is where Robbo and Sky and Nagel probably check out, and Sosa and I check in. This is when the draft begins.
This is 1 a.m. for me. I'm like juiced right now. I'm feeling like Ted Rath about to put my head through the wall.
We'll feel too much start tomorrow.
Thank you for saying head through the wall. Ugh.
Yeah, no, we should chop it up maybe about what you want to see tomorrow.
Oh, chop it up. We're talking about Ted Rath chopping it up. Ugh. Oh God.
There's
all right, boys.
up here.
We got a 5-minute speed round, and then we got Colin.
All right.
Let's chop it up. Tomorrow, what are you? Best player available? Do you have a position you want? Do you have a player you're looking at?
Special teams.
You want to fill?
Special teams. Special teams.
Kicker? Are we good with what we got done in the free agent?
Let's take a kicker. Do it.
Backup quarterback.
So who are your top 5 kickers?
Oh, we got the goat kicker.
Rodrigo Blankenship and 4 guys.
We got the goat kicker. We don't need a kicker.
Oh, we got the goat kicker.
Yeah. We got Jeff Wilkins reincarnated.
Sure.
Oh, that's right. So is there anyone or any position you think they really need to address, or is it BPA and let's just go because they have needs. It's not like they've got one spot they need to fill and they're going to the Super Bowl. So is it do we look at developmental inter-offensive line, maybe inside linebackers, guys who can play special teams, so that means no fatties, another wide receiver. What are we thinking?
Yeah. Just find like a little Polish guy. That's what you need. Right?
That's quite specific.
What you're saying is Cam Akers.
I want to go with a really
he's a little Polish guy
that ends with ski. Just let's make it happen. 5th round, 6th round.
Top 5 skis. So
you know what? I think Biotish might actually be Polish. That sounds pretty Polish to me. So you might get your wish, but no, I don't know. I just take the best guy. I still think there's some good guys out there. Biotish is one of them. Ben Barch is one of them. Curtis Weaver, I think,
Curtis Weaver
is still available. Akeem Davis-Gaither, like Troy Dye. There's still some good players out there, man. Netani Muti, I think, is like a really interesting name.
Did Akeem go yet?
No, he didn't.
No.
ADG, not yet.
No, not yet. He would be a huge get. He'd probably start day one in linebacker, which is funny to think from a 4th round pick.
Tony Pride Jr. or
He's good.
Trey Adams, Project, Curtis Weaver.
Weaver would be interesting.
How about backup quarterback? Do you think they could take a backup quarterback like a Jake Fromm? Or
That's the most interesting one to me. Is they could. The only difference is we got lucky that we got Blake Bortles for $1 million last year. You probably need someone more seasoned because you're still in the window where you can win games.
Cam.
Yeah. Well, the problem is how much is Cam going to cost, and that's the difference between Cam's great. And the problem for Cam is if he's healthy, he's a number 1. If he's not healthy, is he not? He's probably not even a number 2.
He's definitely a number 2.
He might not even be a number 2 if he's not healthy. So
we have Whitler Murray. We don't need nobody.
Whitler Murray. I don't know, man. It's one of those things where I'm down to take a quarterback. For this year, I'm just looking at special teams. We've missed the window, and we didn't have enough room to do much. We couldn't do it in free agency. We didn't have the 1st round pick. This just wasn't the year to kind of.
They let go of JoJo Natson, right? So they do need a special teamer.
It's a JoJo Natson day 3. We should get a bunch of JoJo Natsons all over the place and just call it a day and figure it out as we.
If you draft 3 JoJo Natsons, you get a Roger Goodell bobblehead.
What's a JoJo Natson like Texas Hold'em kind of hand? Like, oh, here comes the river. It's a JoJo Natson. Oh,
that's like a pair of like 3s or something.
That's a Pharaoh Cooper on the sweep.
Like you get a 3, and then the river is like a 3 as well.
For some reason, Johnny Munt is saluting in the corner by himself. God bless.
Rebel 3s.
Never play poker. That's the un-American way. That's ungodly. You don't play poker. That's gross.
but back to the expectations for the draft, it kind of feels like now we're the 4th round that we can kind of stop saying, oh, they need to do this. It's like, we can't guess anymore. They're going to do.
The problem is they still need to do that, but you're right. In the 4th round, you can't get the guy that you need to do that.
Yeah, I think we need to relax and just let Les Snead just be a fucking weirdo, and whatever happens, we're gonna have to go, yay.
That seems like the worst idea ever. Hey, let Les Snead go wild.
Kara Henderson Snead.
Yeah, don't fight it, man. It's gonna happen.
Speaking of Les Snead going wild, do you think they're gonna draft another running back?
Maybe. Sure. Sure.
3 picks. Sure.
Does that mean that Malcolm Brown is not going to be in the team if they draft another running back, or do you think they just go fuck it? Nope.
He's better than them all.
Sky might be right too. Malcolm Brown could be starting week 1.
Dude, he legitimately could be. You know what? He's the only one that can block. I watch these guys. They block like, I don't even know, just very, very soft, I guess, or whatever you want to call it.
Fun team.
Mally Cat wants to smoke.
Yeah.
All right, peeps. Hey, thanks for jumping on twice tonight. It was good to see you handsome bastard.
I love this team. What a fun team.
This is good. This is a good team. We got some good talk. We got some good ideas shared. We lamented. We exercised the Cam Akers demons. We got that out, so we're good for tomorrow.
I'm also a bit on what's the right word? I'm jealous that I did the first Zoom on my ass in the tub, which hurt a lot for about an hour and a half afterwards. Sky is chilling. Sky is way more comfortable than anybody.
Look at him.
Good Lord.
My daughter's asleep in the house. So I just go sit in a beach chair in the yard. And it's a warm night. It's pretty nice out here, though. But there's a lot of bugs and crickets and stuff. It's not that great.
I love it.
Well, everyone watching YouTube, thanks for popping in. We really appreciate you guys hanging out. The chat room was hopping tonight. Nick and company, you guys were out there just rocking it. So thanks for jumping on with us. And gentlemen, let's enjoy our final 3 picks tomorrow. And we will get at you on all our normal stations.
Sounds good. Hopefully they have a strong day tomorrow and we can finish out strong.
There we go.